So what does it take to shallow the golf club in your downswing? We see so many golfers swinging over the top, whether it be lessons or online, and they're really struggling to fix it.
Definitely. In today's video, we're going to share with you 5 really simple tips that's going to help you shallow the club, get more inside, and really help your overall consistency. And these tips have worked with loads of our students. If you're not yet a subscriber to this channel and you want to improve your game, we release videos every single week, so make sure you hit the button down below. Okay, so tip number 1, this is very simple.
We've seen this a lot recently in live lessons. So we're seeing golfers aim miles right. Now, if you aim miles right, the only way you can get it back on the target is by swinging massively over the top. So again, we can see that one there. The path actually got pretty good. It was zeroed out pretty much, but I'm aiming miles right and then swinging over the top to do that. Imagine what it would be like for you if you're aiming miles right and then you had to shallow the golf club, how much you'd actually have to hook the golf ball to get it back on target. It's not realistic. So we need to get you aiming squarer. And this is how we're going to do it. We've got an alignment stick. We're going to drop it down parallel to our target line. And from here now we've got a reference. Now this doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be able to shallow the club from here, but as soon as you know where you're aiming and you've got square alignment, now that's the next step then to fixing that over the top. So now that you are actually square, the body can actually move a lot better. As we said, it's not going to guarantee stopping you coming over the top, but this is the first step.
A lot of people are actually aiming right because they think it's going to make them shallow.
Yeah.
It actually does the opposite. So make sure you get the alignment sticks down and get yourself as square as possible and start moving that body in a better way. Second tip is all in the hips. The hips play a huge role, probably one of the biggest things in the golf swing that you need to work on really. Talk through it, Pierce.
So if we see golfers who are really struggling with a hip rotation or they're swaying in their backswing, we'll often see this. So you'll have no turn on the way back and then you hit the shot with the power. We can see we've got a big curve to the right there, a big fade, 11.5 degrees to the left. So what happens is, if we think of this, when you're not turning, it's hard for you to get your arms around your body. So if you haven't got any turn here, we can see that club is almost on my toe line. As soon as I from here just turn my hips more, wow, look at that. The club now goes a lot more behind me. So I'm just going to do that again. So notice where the club is when I, so notice where it is there, no turn. As soon as I turn, the club goes more behind me, more on my heel line almost. And then from there we can hit the shot. It's a little bit thin, but that was definitely a draw. That path is absolutely going to be out to the right.
Yeah, 3.2 to the right. So yeah, I mean, look, the hips will massively influence the path. Think about people like Brooks Koepka. Very limited hip turn, doesn't really turn that much, gets the arms high. He plays fade. His path will be left. But then you've got other people who have more of a rotation. The more that we rotate the hips, the more space we've got for the arms to swing down more closer to plane.
This is really important for me. If I see a golfer who's not turning their hips well in their backswing, I'm like, yeah, Peter Finch just recently on a live lesson, that was the key, the catalyst to now getting that club shallower on the way down.
It's not just about trying to do it with the arms. We're going through this in a really important order. These hips will have a massive influence. You've got to check this.
If you do this first, you may not have to do anything else.
Exactly.
So here's a great drill. I'm actually going to combine one of ours and something that Pete Cowan and David Ledbetter would do as well. So the drill that we do is we talk about swap pockets. So let's get this front pocket and put it in the back pocket. So let's push it back into that back pocket. So you can see when I'm doing this is a great rotation and there's no lateral sway over here.
I'm going to point out a couple of things that are really important for you to see here. 2 things. Notice when Pierce does this, notice this front knee. This front knee moves in, which is really important. And as we do this, notice that his actual right leg straightens a little bit and I can actually get an alignment stick between his knees, not too high, but I can get that between his knees. This creates some space now for his hips and torso to move in a much better way.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we combine that, great point. If we can combine that with the feeling that David Ledbetter and Pete Cowan talk about, they often talk about like the pivot in the backswing almost being like an upward motion, like a corkscrew or a spiral staircase. So if you were to get your hand, your trail hand on your leg by the knee there, often mine goes all the way down there, the length of my arms. But if we actually just focus now on getting a good pivot, but almost applying pressure in my leg. So I'm pushing into my leg, I'm allowing my leg to be pushed back and that front pocket to be pushed back as well. This is a great way of getting this pivot almost going up, which makes us not move too much away from the target.
Keeps us in a great posture as well. It keeps us bent forward in this great posture. This left shoulder stays low. Really important to get the turn and keep it in the posture.
So many benefits from doing it that way. But then when you hit the golf shot, keep it really simple. Just put that front pocket in the back pocket. That's nice.
Beautiful,
High
that's
up.
really nice. Third one then, this is to do with the arms. This is about having a narrow backswing.
I think this is the one that might annoy, if you ever got annoyed, Andy, I think this is the one that's closest for you, isn't
I
it?
think this
Most frustrating.
I would say this fault, we'll call it a fault, is probably one of the number one faults out there that golfers aren't even paying attention to. That's what I'd say. They don't even realise they're doing this.
And it pees him off as well. He does. He's not going to say it, but it does. So what we're seeing is, look, I had one of our members send me a video just yesterday on this. And I'm like, wow, we've got to sort this out. So what is we're talking about the arms and how they move around your body. Now, if your arms go very narrow on the way back, so this trail arm, this right arm gets sucked into the body. And by the way, some people are trying to do this.
Yeah.
Please stop doing this if you're trying to do this. It's not going to help. But if we get this position here where we're really cramped on the way back, it's so easy when you're cramped here, you put the power on and again, you swing massively over the top. So because you've got no room to swing, you're going from extremely narrow, 12.6 to the left, from extremely narrow to then trying to create the space when you put the power on, there's no space there, so you're forced over the top.
One thing I'll add to this as well is that when we get narrow here, there's no way that we're going to sequence the body in the right way because everything will be left behind. So what Piers is demonstrating is when we get narrow is that we can't drive the lower body, so we have to start with this, which throws everything over. And sequence is key in terms of being able to get your club in a great delivery point. And this is why having which we're going to show you now, having this wider backswing is really going to help.
Again, really steep attack angle on that as well you can tell from that. So look, what we're after is, this is a great image. I think Andy was mentioning Mark Immelman, PGA Tour broadcaster and a great golf coach. He talks about standing in a door frame and then getting your hands in the corner of the door frame. I think that's a great image for us. We're keeping our body pretty much in the middle, so we don't want to be moving to the edge of that, in the corner of that door frame, but we're actually just saying, I'm just going to hit this one, Andy, so get to the top where it's really wide, feeling that your arms and hands are in the top of the door frame, and then from there hit the golf shot.
Great thing about this is what Piers did there, he's stopping at the top of the swing to know that he's in this sort of wider position with the trail arm. This right arm is a little more out here, and from there the lower body can sequence better, and it's going to be so much easier. Think of John Rahm, very wide on the way back. It's going to be so much easier to use the lower body and drive in a good way.
And it's not necessarily about having, you know, a really long swing, it's just width in the golf swing. And let's make sure we're not confusing this with, you've got to keep your left arm straight, because we're not saying that. We're not saying you've got to keep your left arm straight. What we are really saying is you've got to get the width in that right arm. We've got to make sure that that right arm is away from the body and then put your hand on the club. There's the width that you need. If there's a little bit of bend in that left elbow, that's okay as long as you've got the width in the right arm.
Do that again, just right arm only, and just want to show you this because I'm just going to show you here. Look, a lot of people are trying to get this upper arm connected to the chest. That isn't going to help you. And from the coaching that we've done, the more connected this is to the body, the worse it is. So you can see when Piers does this here wider, it just helps sequence the whole thing and helps the lower body work in a better way.
And look, it depends. Look, we've seen Justin Rose put things underneath his arm and talk about that. That's fine, but we just need to understand what the place for it is. So the way that we can look at this is if you are getting this width in your backswing, from there, as we then swing down now, it's going to be a whole lot easier for you to shallow the club and then get the right arm closer and tighter to the body when you're moving. You may want to tee it up when you do this, but stop at the top, get it in the corner of the door frame, and then pull the trigger. That was really nice.
Grab a few more golf balls.
We're getting out of golf balls here. We're out of...
Okay, so let's get into tip number 4. So tip number 4 is all about the transition. I've actually heard Bernard Langer talk about this in the past, where this is a swing thought that he had. Just talk through this one, please.
Yeah, okay, so this is so when we're talking about transition, specifically we're talking about the torso. What is the upper body doing when we do this? So what we'll see is, we'll see a lot of golfers from here, and they'll move very quickly with the upper body. They're very upper body dominant. They might be stiff in the lower body, but they're really trying to get the club coming down.
So we can see very early here with the shoulders, look. Shoulders
are really square really early, but look where the club is. Look how high it is. My attack angle from there. Let's have a go at doing one of these. This is going to be starting it with the upper body. And again, we know we don't need a full swing to tell us on that one, but that's going to be at least 12 to 13 left. 13 degrees to the left, just because I'm doing it all with the upper body. And it's really interesting. Before we got into this lesson, one of the members here at the Grand, we told him we were doing this video. He says, I bet you're not going to mention the fact that, what about golfers who just get a bit tight and a bit nervous and they rush their downswing and their transition? Well, this is kind of it. If we combine the hip rotation and the drill I'm about to show you, that will give you the time that you need to start your downswing. You'll be less anxious, which I think is a big part of this. This drill we're going to give you now, this is actually from, I heard this about 20 years ago from Jim Flick. Jim Flick spent a lot of time with Jack Nicklaus coaching him, so we should probably listen to this guy. But what he would talk about, I'm going to hit this one, is we would swing to the top of the backswing and we would delay the upper body as much as possible. Now I've toe-ended that one out to the right, but I guarantee you the path is going to be huge out to the right, 5 degrees to the right. So all we're saying is from here, I'll slow this down, get to the top and delay your upper body. Don't let it move back towards the target. Keep the back facing to the target whilst we let the arms, hands and arms just drop. Now you're probably saying, Piers, surely you're going out of sequence there. You don't want to start the downswing with the arms. Well, we do want to get the arms working in the correct direction if this torso is doing all of the work, because that's a bad sequence as well. So this is just a way of explaining to our brain almost what it feels like to get the arms working better.
This is certainly just a feel, and you know, we've spent lovely shot there, Piers. Maybe just overdid that one. We spent time with Sergio Garcia, where he talks about this, and he's got a little bit of stick from this because he's going, you need to pull the chain from here. Now, that's his feeling.
His feel, yeah.
To make sure that he doesn't go too far. So having the feeling here of going, okay, from here, keeping the back of the target, and letting the arms work down here, it's just a feeling, remember, not a reality.
And Justin Rose talks about that again, about getting the arms coming down the chest. I've got to do another one of those because that was not very good.
That was terrible, Piers.
I was just doing it a bit too slow, if anything. So on this one, again, I'm just going to delay that upper body and you'll see the arms doing more of the work. And it's probably the easiest way to get a big high draw.
Yeah, you can see the hands work a little bit more there as well. Let's have a quick look at the full swing, 4.6 degrees to the right.
So tip number 5, we're actually going to get our impact bag in to help us with this, but this is all about how we're going to get a good transition with our hands at the top of the backswing. Now, I've got a drill that I've been doing for a long time. It guarantees to shallow the golf club, but there is a massive warning with this. You need to do this drill correctly, otherwise it will actually make you worse.
There's one other thing that needs to happen.
Yes.
You can't do this if you've got poor of everything else that we've just talked about.
Absolutely.
You need to have a great pivot motion, great alignments, all the things that we've just talked about. You need to do this, all those first.
So that's the first thing, and there's another thing that we need to talk about in this as well. So what we're looking at is a drill that I would do, whether it be a 3 hammers or whether it be Purton when we were first coaching, would be a club or a ball on the wall. And basically what this is, you'd have a wall behind you, about 18 inches behind you for a 7-iron. You swing back up and then you pause at the top, and then you put the club head, or if it was like an orange whip and a ball, you put that on the wall, and then from there, you will drag the club down the wall. You're feeling, you're trying to push the wall over, you're trying to break the wall with your club by pointing your thumbs away from your head. Now, the key with this is, the feeling is, and if you've actually got a wall, keep the club on there for as long as possible, but as soon as it comes off, you have to, excuse me, you have to square the club face up. Because this is what happens. When someone does this for the first time, they get great at shallowing the club, and then they come in like this. Now, guess what?
Disaster.
You cannot hit a golf ball with a club face like that. So you have to learn how to square the face up, and that's why we've got the impact bag. But again, let's just give you a feel on this. So, ball on the wall, then turn your body, drag the club down the wall. As soon as it comes off, bam, square the face. And that's why we've got the impact bag, because I'm hitting it with that square face now. If you do not square the face, this drill will actually make you worse as opposed to better.
Just a quick observation from face on. Do the bad one for me, Piers, where you just keep coming down slowly for us. Keep coming, get the face wide open, hold it there. Notice the TaylorMade logo now is facing the camera here. Face is wide open. Let's look at the difference when he gets the club face square now. So he'll shadow the club, club is on the wall, down to impact. Now what we've got here now, the TaylorMade logo now is facing down the target. Such a key component. And now you've got feedback to go, what does it feel like all the way down to impact? Most important thing.
And don't forget, if you're over the top, you're probably doing some of this through the ball anyway, having the face open. So you're gonna have to work doubly hard, but it's a great way of you actually shallowing the club. It can work really well.
Impact bag, great tool to have
Yep.
in your locker. Okay, let's put that into a feeling then, Piers.
Just should naturally have that. That was okay. It was a little bit heely.
Pretty straight shot though.
Straight
I
golf
mean, the
shot,
viewers would
heely.
definitely love that. You know, nice straight shot. Let's look at the actual path. 2 degrees to the right. So again, shows you the shallowness there. 5 really simple ways that we know that will really help. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you're going to love this video here. And don't forget, if you haven't already, check out meandmygolf.com or download the Me and My Golf app. And we'll see you next time.